Hello guys, and we are back again with another video. No long intros, let's just start. But don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also share with your friends, and also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post you will be the first to get it. Let's just start.
What are the common assumptions, the biggest ones that are holding guys back when it comes to attracting women, and what are the reframes or the best strategies that you've deconstructed from yourself?
Okay, so the most common problems I would say would be some mindsets, like, limiting beliefs is a big one, like thinking like, oh, I'm not tall, so women aren't going to be attracted to me, or I'm not rich, so I can't get women, or, like all these reasons why they're not attracted.
Do those things not matter?
No, they don't matter at all. Like the things that actually can make a woman pursue you or chase you or be interested in you, like, Bill's a perfect example. He had all the things, not one, not two, not three. He had every single thing that guys think that they need to get women.
Plus a desert island.
Desert island with 36 girls. Like, you couldn't get a better scenario. So, like, that is literal proof that, like, all these things,
still didn't get laid.
Exactly. That's not going to solve your problem, because here's a guy that had all those things and he still didn't do it, right? And I have another sample of a bunch of guys in my fraternity that were short, that didn't have money, that weren't that smart, all this stuff, and they got a ton of pussy. So, like, I just know that it's not the traditional things that guys think that they need. That's a part of it. But I think, like I said, when I kind of like deconstructed it, the biggest epiphany that I had was the difference of when you are chasing a woman or you're pursuing a woman versus when she's pursuing you, and like the flaws disappearing on both sides. When a woman's chasing you, your flaws disappear, her flaws magnify. Just like when the really, stage 5 clinger girl hits you up all the time, it's just like, you're not interested in her. Maybe she can suck your dick on a Friday night if you strike out at 3 a.m. Right? But like, the same thing's true for women, is like when these guys massively over communicate interest, they know they can have them, and then it's like a conversation of, do they want them? And when you're looking at flaws, you're going to find them. Like, you've got flaws, I've got flaws, like everybody has flaws, right? So when you're looking for flaws, they stand out. But when you're pursuing something, like, think an auction, like 5 guys want something, 5 guys are bidding for something, and like you really want it, and you have this like, idea in your mind of like when you wanted something, you didn't get it, and this fear of loss. You're not thinking about what's wrong with it. You're just, how do I get it? Right? Just like, and this is probably the most common mistake guys make, is they're like, this girl's hot, how do I fuck her? That's the thought process. Like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. Like, I would marry that girl. How many times have you heard a guy say like, oh my God, she's so hot, I would marry her? It's like, what if she has AIDS? What if she's a pathological liar? What if she's like 95,000 guys? What if she's just like a serial cheater? Like, what if this girl has massive problems? What if she's bipolar? What if she's got a massive alcohol problem? Whatever, right? Like, dig a little bit deeper, like be discerning, like go into the interaction, like wanting to find out more about the girl, not just accepting her looks as being enough. And I think that's the biggest problem that guys make, is that they just like, the looks are enough, and then the conversation is like, how do I get her to like me? So you're already going in there with a handicap. Like when a salesman comes in, like he's already coming in from a handicap, versus like when somebody goes into the store because they need milk, they just go to the aisle, they find the milk and they buy it. Versus if you show up at the door and you try and sell them milk, then be like, oh, well, who is this guy? Is the milk old? Can I trust this? You know what I mean? Like, the difference, like when you want something, it's just like, how do I get it? It's not, the same conversation. And so that would be the biggest thing. And I figured that out because I had a big sample size of girls that wanted to me that I screwed it up with, and a big sample size of girls that wanted to me that I also had sex with. And I think that's like, look, in a experiment, you have to have the control group, right? Most guys do not have the control group. Like, I literally had girls sending me butt naked photos on Instagram. I want to you. And I screwed it up with those girls. So I'm just saying, like, only in like cross comparing what worked and what didn't work with 2 sample sizes of girls that both wanted to sleep with me could I figure it out.
Given that you're the same guy to both of them.
Exactly. Because like, there's girls that just like wouldn't want to sleep with me because I'm Armenian or I have a shitty haircut or whatever, right? Like, there's going to be girls that just like wouldn't fuck me, period. So because I had that sample that I knew that they wanted to sleep with me and I screwed it up, I was able to like figure out the things that I was doing wrong. And like, one of the big things that I was doing wrong was like, I was over communicating interest. I would have problems with the girls that I was like, oh damn, like this girl's hot, she's different, or like, or I really like her or whatever. And my approach would change. And because my approach would change, my results would change.
What about the sort of treat them mean to keep them keen / not signaling sufficient interest that girl doesn't actually end up responding to you at all. I think, well, he's not interested, so this doesn't go anywhere.
So I wouldn't say treat them mean. I would say change your default setting from nice to challenging. Because like a lot of these guys, like they aren't really nice guys. Like, oh, like, I just want to be it's like, you're not that nice to the fat chick. You're not that nice to the janitor. You're nice to this girl because you want to her. So like this whole idea of like, oh, I'm just being myself, or like, that's another one. It's like, I just want to be myself. Like, I want her to like me for me. And it's like, okay, well, there's different versions of you. There's a version of you in an Armani suit. There's a version of you dressed like shit. There's a version of you where you like take care of your diet and work out and like, work at your job. And there's a version of you that just like succumbs to every one of your impulses. Like, like I drive by McDonald's and like, I just want to eat fries, but I don't, like I want to have Snickers all day, but I don't, like you can make yourself better. And I think, a lot of guys don't do that. Like a lot of guys are just like, I want a girl to like me for me.
So get tactical for a moment with regards to guy has girl that he thinks she's hot, she's interesting, I want to pursue her. What is a better tactical way of moving toward that? What should they do?
Well, I mean, I would not start the interaction by over communicating interest, number one. So I would go up and, have a conversation with her. I mean, I've asked girls crazy stuff. I take like a pretty extreme approach, and I wouldn't recommend this for, all guys, but like I'll ask girls crazy questions. Like me and my buddy were having a conversation the other day, and like he was like, I think I was arguing that I think you have a lower chance of getting a serious rejection if you put a girl's hand on your dick than if you go for a kiss. And this is after a girl's into you and like you guys have been on a date or whatever, and there's like, some chemistry, whatever. And he was like, you're out of your mind, like this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, well, let's ask some girls. So like, I just would go up to a girl and I'd be like, hey, like this is the question. Like, what do you, I wouldn't frame like who was on which side, but like they wanted an answer. So they gave their answer. And now all of a sudden we're in a sexual conversation with a girl where I haven't communicated any interest to her at all. And I've almost like disqualified her because I'm asking her this question that like usually wouldn't ask.
Not about you.
Exactly. You wouldn't ask a girl that you're trying to like hook up with because it's like a crazy question too. Yep. And so I'm not saying that would be, the optimal approach, but I'm just saying like that's something that like most guys wouldn't think to do, but that it's more successful than going up, over communicating interest, putting a girl in a position where like she has to decide like accept or reject. And usually when they're like forced to accept or reject, usually reject is the default. And if it's not, then they're probably a whore if they just like accept every guy that comes up to them.
This is your chasing versus choosing paradigm.
Well, yeah. So get into the interaction, and the caveat to that is like what you say to a girl isn't necessarily how important as like how you say it. So you could go up and say some really stupid shit to open the conversation. It doesn't really matter. Like as long as you get in there without massively over communicating interest, right? And then I would say be discerning, be challenging. Like, ask questions, dig deeper, get a little bit of information about her, I mean, Neil Strauss had a good one when he was on with Jessica Alba, and he said, looks are common in LA. Aside from your looks, like what would your friends say are the three, best qualities about you? And like in that one question, he immediately like pulled away her looks, which was like one of her strongest attributes. Like nobody give a f- about Jessica Alba. She's ugly. Right? She's literally like her superpower. He just sucked it right out of the conversation. He's also digging deeper. And now he's got her in a position of like qualifying herself to him and selling herself to him. She's telling him why she's good, And so that would be a much better start of an interaction than like, I think you're so beautiful. Like I just had to come over here and, and by the way, I'm a doctor, and I drive a Lamborghini and like, all this bullshit. The guys like, they try and brag about themselves. They're doing all these things. And the girl's just like in a position of like, okay, like, do I want this? That's the conversation usually between guys and girls is like, the girl's like, okay, do I want this guy? It's like playing poker and the guys just like turn over their cards. And so I would say like, dig a little bit deeper, be discerning, like find out about the girl, like, decide. And then if you want to give her a compliment on like something that's unique about her, something that's like she earned or, not just like she was born with, like if she has pretty eyes, I'm sure she's heard that from a million guys. Like don't tell her she has pretty eyes, like just be different. I mean, I guess like a big epiphany I had too was like when I became famous, and I just talk about this in there too, is like understanding a hot girl's mind. Because when I became famous, like I understood what it was like to be a hot chick. And I understood that in the sense of like I had forced interactions wherever the I would go, whether it was a Starbucks, whether it was, wherever, like I had people coming up to me. And the same thing is true of a girl. Like when she goes to you get her mail. When she goes to the grocery store, like, guys are hitting on her all the time. So it's forced interactions. And what I notice is the first 100 times guys would come up to me and be like, bro, you're the man, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, all this shit. I was like, okay, cool, you know, whatever. And I always take the pictures, you know. But I guess what I'm trying to, you know, explain with that is, let's say you were a famous guy and a guy comes up to you and like, bro, you're the man, dude, like all this shit, and you've heard this 10,000 times. Is that going to make you want to have a beer with that guy?
No.
Like, maybe you'll take a photo with him, you'll tell him you appreciate it, but it's not going to make you want to like hang out with him. Now, if that guy comes up to you and is like, hey man, you know, I only got a second, but I just want to tell you, like, you know, I really like this, you know, maybe the guy's a rock star, I really like this song that you did, and he told him a song that he did like in the garage. He's like, and I had that same guitar that you had and whatever, and then he's just like kind of excusing himself on the way out. Maybe that rock star like wants to have a conversation with him. Oh shit, that guitar, you know, that was like one of my favorite guitars, you know, like now you're coming at it from a different angle. And I would say the same thing is true with hot girls, is like if you go up and say the same shit that all these other guys have said to these girls, you're gonna have the same knee-jerk reaction. The walls are gonna go up. She's gonna remember the last 20 times she got caught in a 30-minute conversation with some idiot talking her ear off, and she knows that the guy just wants to her because she's built no value, right? Like early on in the conversation, if you compliment her a bunch before she's earned it, and it's kind of like you're telling her indirectly, you're hot,
above me.
You're above me, and your looks are good enough. I don't even care if you have flaws. Like, you're hot, and so that's enough for me, and I'm ready to date you. It's just the wrong thing.
It's so funny, that kind of playground mentality of, if I know that I can have it, I don't want it. And it's so funny how that seems to be in your worldview like a fundamental part of the physics of
well, it translates to everything. You know, it's sales, it's negotiation, it's business, it's all these things.
The person that can walk away from the deal is the one that holds the most power.
Always.
So we've come to the end of the video. The person who can walk away from the most deal has the most power, something like that. I've forgotten, but then I think I will personally watch again, so you should personally watch again too. And we've come to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also share it with your friends, and also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. The person who walks away from the deal is the person who has the most power. I got it right this time. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also share with your friends, and also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios amigos, bye.